Hey everyone, my name is Anna. I'm a wife of an addict in recovery, and I'm also recovering myself from codependency.
Hey guys, I'm Mitchell. I'm a gratefully recovering addict and alcoholic. It is great to be here.
I thought you said no. Tonight, guys, we're going to be talking about one of the questions that was sent in of what was rock bottom. We were asked what was rock bottom from both sides. So not just from the addict's perspective, but also from the family perspective. It basically is that question of when do you know enough is enough? So we'll be talking about that today from both perspectives. However, we are also going to be taking questions. So if you have any questions about anything or questions while we're talking that you think about what we're expressing, please write them down in the chat. Mitchell's got the phone over here, so we're going to keep an eye on the chat for any questions. But Mitchell, let's just dive right in because I do know family members really like to know the most of, for the addict's perspective, when is enough enough and what was your rock bottom? And then we'll go into why, but what was your rock bottom? And was there actually many rock bottoms?
Yep. Yeah, and before I even go into this, I like what I heard someone say last week about a rock bottom in their opinion, and they said in their opinion it's a moment in our lives when we're ready and willing to make a change.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that holds way truer than saying what my rock bottoms were. And I always think of like when it gets worse, when it gets bad enough to do this and this thing. And I don't think it's about how bad it can be because we adapt to bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like we can always get worse, right? And the next rock bottom makes the previous one seem awesome, right? Like, because I wasn't that far down. Maybe it's, I thought at one point a DUI was my rock bottom, and like, that's nothing compared to like losing
I thought that was your rock bottom.
Losing everything and all this stuff, or breaking my hand was rock bottom, or all this stuff. But like, in addiction, from anything, I think after you weather that storm, it becomes like okay, right? Like it wasn't the worst thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
So like, I like how this guy said it, man. Like whatever you're facing, it's whenever you're ready and willing to make a change. And I think that is whenever we are up against some hards. I think that's when we kind of like, come to from whatever behavior we're in and look around and say, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. The easiest way I can say it with me, or the thing that I battle with the most nowadays, is just being healthy, right? And being healthy for myself, not to look good, not to, yes, feel good, but like really just to be healthy, right? Like to care about what I'm putting in my body. And it goes in ebbs and flows, man. Like I don't ever catch it before I get to that extreme of, being the heaviest I've been and the most sluggish I've been and all that stuff. And then I look around and say, I need to change, right? So I have a really hard time. And I think, and I'm saying this is because I think a lot of family and a lot of addicts and a lot of people have a hard time being willing to change without that catalyst of something happening, and as far as like weight says, like, well, I step on the scale, I'm as heavy as I've been, I wake up, I'm like moaning and can't run and can't do it, and I'm like, I have to change, right? And then I become willing. So it's like, how can we become willing and able, not able, we're always able, but how can we become willing and ready to change and continue to work on ourselves, right? And I think that's the $1 million question, right? It's like, how do we stay motivated? How do we stay focused on what we want to do? And I think that takes a lot of work. So that being said, I just think that's real important. You know what I mean? But I had, many, you know what I mean? Failed relationships. I know one of my first rock bottoms was, when I left Washington when I was 21. I couldn't hold a job. My family company wouldn't hire me back anymore because I just wasn't reliable as a son or a person in general. You know, I had no money in my name. I was stealing, and you know what I mean. So like, I was burning all those bridges. I was burning all those bridges, and I'm looking around like, and you know, an opportunity came for me to leave the state, and like I just jumped on it because like, you know, that was the worst. That made me look at myself. You know, later in life, you know, possession charges and DUIs, you know, those kind of woke me up a little bit. You know, my first DUI woke me up a little bit. I didn't drink for a while after that. You know, still smoked weed, still smoked cigarettes, still, you know, never challenged the behaviors. But like I was looking, at least I saw a problem because there was something that happened. You know, and then, you know, I broke my hand. I stopped. I broke my hand, and shortly after I proposed to Anna, and that kind of shook me a little bit, but not enough to.
Shook me too.
Not enough to actively change for the better, right? I never thought about going to treatment or anything like that, right? Why? I think because Anna was still there, and my parents were still there, and people were supporting me, and that kind of stuff. My second DUI, like, you know, I had I was partial owner in a business, so like I had someone driving me around. Like it wasn't, I learned from being up against a wall and having to change, right? And that's probably a very toxic behavior that I need to work on, right? Is not changing until I'm forced. I think most people are going to be that way, right? Unless you get comfortable in the change or in the journey or in the hard. If you get comfortable in that uncomfortable, I think you've won, right? You've won. You're winning because you know you can do these things before it gets too bad. But it just, I always just had stuff still. I had stuff. So, you know, I think the worst one, even more so than the last time I went to treatment, I think I felt more desperation and more a shell of a person the first time I went into treatment, because I was just using for a couple years really heavily. I was really, you know, I think even these last ones, like when I knew, you know, Anna was leaving and I was back into a relapse and all this stuff, I still had tastes of healthy in there. That first time I went in was like the culmination of 22 years of use, and like
you were pretty defeated then.
Very defeated, very open, and I would say probably pretty teachable, because I wanted different, but I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what the path looked like. I didn't know what recovery looked like. I didn't know anything about it. You know, I had been to meetings, but that was just because I was court ordered and that kind of things. I was at treatment, but that's just because I did it so I didn't get kicked out of my parents' house. Like nothing was ever done to do it. So, you know, and what that looked like for me was just being a slave to the substance, like being just a vulgar, manipulative, volatile person outside, right, to everybody around me. And then just consuming substances all day, every day, to feel any shred of happiness. And it was really, really lonely time in my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even though there was still people around. Yeah. Right? I think that moment, I would classify that as my worst just because there was still people around, right? This last time, people were distancing themselves. That other time, like, I still had people, and I felt even worse and alone because, like, I was just so toxic. I was so in that addiction. It makes me sick to my stomach now because, like, I was using all day, every day, nonstop. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And really was on a path to death. I mean, very close to death.
I mean, Joseph even wrote here, my rock bottom was the night I had a pretty bad cocaine overdose, and right when I was stabilized on the verge of death, having a cocaine-induced heart attack, I went right back to using.
Yeah. Same thing, Joseph. Same thing. You know, like, I remember doing drugs with friends, and, like, you know, like, just, you get to a point in addiction, and this is the dangerous part about addiction, is you need more and more and more and more. So you do more and more and more and more, right? Yeah. And your body is yes, it's conditioned to need more. It's not conditioned to handle more, right? So like you're so close to like, I remember holding myself like, I'm gonna have a heart attack. I'm gonna have a heart attack. I gotta quit. I can't do another line. I can't. Boom, I'm doing another line. Boom, doing another line. Cold sweats, like just terrible to feel that out of control and know what you're doing to your body and know what you're killing yourself. Know that you're killing yourself every second and just going and picking up more, stealing, lying, manipulating, right? Just knowing it, like in that part of the addiction, I'm just totally a passenger in my life. Behind these walls of behind these windows, watching this addict just consume people and things and drugs, and it was just terrible.
I want to, before we move forward, just for anybody that just joined us, I want you to know tonight what we're going to talk about, and what we are talking about is when we're both our rock bottoms, not just from the addict, but from the family perspective, the codependent, like when was enough for both sides. Mitchell's talking about him right now and what he's going through. And I want everyone to know that if you have any questions that you want to ask that's in this topic or anything that we talk about, you absolutely can ask questions, or anything just in general. If you have questions, Mitchell and I are taking questions too. So I'm looking up on the chat.
Yeah, and here's the weird thing is, because as I finished saying that and talking about how like crappy that was like 6 years ago now, it's probably 6.5 years ago now. Still to this day, every once in a while, when you get those cravings, you get those feelings about what you used to do, I still romanticize like doing cocaine or smoking weed or taking mushrooms or acid or ecstasy. I still romanticize it, right? It's still like this fun thing in my brain. But now just having that 10-minute discussion about the pain and the everyday and the needing it and feeling like I was going to die with every line, like, because it was just already like I was having a heart attack every moment, and still just doing it and pacing and chain smoking and like it just feels dirty and just like spiritually and emotionally and physically dirty, like just drained. It's just terrible. But like how your brain romanticizes that feeling of getting high, right? And I think that's the dangerous part is we don't constantly have that 10-minute conversation with ourselves about how crappy rock bottom was, right? How crappy it was killing ourselves or stealing from our friends or robbing a store or whatever, or driving around and not doing any work at all, and leaving, like I left my sister hanging, dude. Like I had a company with my sister, and like, she, not only she had to handle the company, but it's like, then you're watching your brother slowly kill themselves too. And
Jerry was overseas and all that.
You know what I mean? So it's just a horrible situation. So my Aunt Andrea had her daughter Alice, and she had all this stuff going on, and like here's me just wrecking life and myself and all that stuff. And then, like I said, my brain today will be romanticized like, oh man, it'd be great to do a line. You know what I mean? Because it remembers that instant gratification, and there isn't an issue. But like that's how I got there, and did it take 22 years? Yeah, but could I get to that same spot in a week? You better believe it.
Yeah. So how do you work through that though? Because it sounds like what you're doing is playing the tape for it, to get back into the moment and realizing, okay, I might be feeling this for a second and romanticizing and wanting this, but right when you realize like all the destruction it causes or what it can cause, it feels like you snap out of it. So is it playing the tape forward? Is it, how do you get yourself?
I mean, I don't think when my thoughts are when my brain romanticizes it like that, that's all it is my brain just clicking through some pictures. Right. It's not, I'm not attached to any of that. Like I don't ever crave that or want that. It's like remembering a good day when you were a kid. You don't want to go right back there. You're just thinking about it. Right. You're not going to drive back to that spot at that time and get into your body as a kid. Like you can't. Right. So like I've detached from the going there. Right. And I think that's what you have to do in early recovery. And that's what I've done in early recovery, was play the tape through all the time. I carried those cards in my wallet that said powerlessness and unmanageability, and I wrote like,
do you still have them?
What was about there? I have them, but they're not in my wallet anymore. They were falling apart. I kept them in there for about 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I kept them in there because they just stuck up a little bit.
Can I ask you a question? I'm just curious about this. Did you have them out when you went to go buy the alcohol at the concert?
They've been out for like a year and a half.
Do you think honestly, if you would have opened it up at the concert and saw those words in there, could it possibly have changed something?
Yeah, could have, for sure.
I'm just curious because when you said that, it just made me.
It could have, for sure. I mean, it's something that yeah, I mean, 100% it could have. Because I still grabbed a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it stuck right out where the credit cards were.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, 100% it could have. You know what I mean?
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that can help other people, Mitchell. Because for me, I feel like that's an anchoring technique that you did, that you always told me that getting cash or getting things was a trigger for you, and you opening your wallet because it's something that you see all the time, it's automatically saying those words in it that really grounds you. So can you let people know about that technique that you use?
Yeah. Well, something my sponsor had me do, and I don't know if a lot of people do this or not, but like, this was a great idea. And I just made, I just got some really bright paper, which I got like neon orange and neon yellow or something like that. And I made the things just like the size of a credit card, because your credit cards stick up out of the credit card slot in your wallet like that 1/4 of an inch. And on that 1/4 of an inch, I wrote like powerlessness. And the other one said unmanageability. So like, it's not like you're putting your life story out there if someone has your wallet or something like that. But it's enough to say, hey, here was this moment you were powerless in your life. Here was this moment you were unmanageable. And I had 4 cards. I had 2 for powerless and 2 for unmanageability. And then if I would pull those out, and I would do it a lot in like probably the first 6 months or maybe the first year, I would pull them out a lot and read them. And I wrote down my 2 most powerless moments.
Oh, I didn't know you had those on the cards.
Yeah, you've read them. I read them to you. And then I wrote my 2 most unmanageable moments on the cards. One was powerlessness. Like I was powerless to stop. This is the gist of it. Like, I was powerless to stop using drugs and alcohol, even when my wife was leaving me. Mm-hmm. Right, my wife's walking out of the house and moving states away, and I'm still using drugs. I was ultimately powerless to stop. I was so unmanageable that like, I couldn't even manage to like go to a job that I had and like, wake up on time or show up for family or friends or do these things. It was so unmanageable. Or like just would spend money without care and have the utilities shut off on our house, right? You're just so unmanageable. Or, I think one was, when I'm on my knees, just crying, praying to God to like take my life or something to stop this addiction. But then I'm right in the car going to go get more drugs. You know what I mean? So, those were on the cards, and I shared this a lot with other people in my life too. You know what I mean? And a lot of people I worked with, I was like, you should put these in your wallet. You should do this stuff in your wallet. You know what I mean? I've even thought about making them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Making them for people specifically for their powerlessness and unmanageability. But no, I mean, I remember, and I laminated them so they were held up, but they were falling apart and they were coming off. And then, you're like 4 years in and you're like, they're falling apart. Like, I'm just going to take them out, right? You get a new wallet. It's not as big, like all this stuff. It's just life seems to go. And, I mean, they are really an important part. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know. They could also become something that, you don't even pay attention to.
Yeah.
But it's a good reminder.
Mm. So can I ask you, when you, or before, hold on, because Elizabeth, I just saw you come in. Yeah. Let's just see. My husband has been using off and on for 36 years. He's had moments of sobriety, but these last few years I've let him go from one treatment center to another. He would be out 1 to 2 days and he would start using, and I would check him back into treatment center. I do love him, but I feel guilty because all I seem to do is pawn him off to a treatment center so I can have a few more months to myself and get back to living. I've dealt with him selling everything for crack. He said he understands why I don't want him around, but I finally had enough of always being worried about what was going to be sold for crack. While I'm the sole provider for our family, I told him the other day I'm a single married woman. in the last few years, we may have slept in the same bed no more than a month and 2 years. Elizabeth, I'm proud of you for speaking up and expressing your truth and how you feel, because that is absolutely true. We love the true individual. We absolutely love the true individual. I don't know about you, but I don't love the addict, okay? I don't love the addiction. I love the true person. I do not like the addiction. The addiction holds all the unhealthy behaviors and the really horrible symptoms that hurt other people. And so I'm proud of you for saying, we may still be together, but that's not how I actually feel, though. I feel like a single mother. You're not here. And that's really powerful, because same exact thing. That's what I told Mitchell one day. Mitchell was leaving, and it just came out of my mouth of, it doesn't matter if you're here anyways. I still feel alone, and that's the truth of addiction, unfortunately. So I'm proud of you for saying that, and keep holding your boundaries, Elizabeth, because one of the things I want to go in now talking to Mitchell, because he talked about how, one of his down moments was when he broke his hand. And I was really thinking about if I wanted to stay engaged or be with Mitchell, to be completely honest with you. And he said, I thought that was my rock bottom, but then Anna was still there. And so I'm actually curious and wanting to know, do you think holding an actual boundary there could have possibly helped out? I know we have the path that we went, but if we look back on scenarios we went through, that's definitely for me one that I wish I would have held a boundary, but it doesn't mean that I necessarily would, because we went out the way we did. But
I don't think it definitely wouldn't have led to where we are today.
Yes.
It could have led for way better for you and me separate.
Yes.
I mean, you know what I mean? I don't think that I think we can have great lives with many, 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 many people.
Yeah.
Right? I think we can connect with many people. There's a lot of people that we can have a physical, spiritual, mental connection with.
Yes.
Right? Yes, there is this love, true love, all this stuff. There's a lot of true loves, right? We have the capacity to love a lot of people and for them to love us. And I think that in that moment, if you would have held a boundary, who knows if I would have stepped into recovery.
Yeah.
But eventually it probably would have set me on a path of destruction for me.
Yeah.
That eventually I probably would have stepped into recovery.
Yeah.
Or I would have died.
Yeah.
I think you would have went probably downhill for a little bit, because obviously that's hard to hold that boundary and do this, and you second guess stuff. But I think you would have learned from it and eventually been happy with someone who really loved you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's always the best option.
Yeah.
To hold a thing. That's the thing with life. I don't think you can't predict what's going to happen when you do the things. When's the right time to hold the boundary to get the optimum outcome that you want? You're never going to know.
Yeah.
You're never going to know. And that's what I think is the power of this topic tonight is, when are you willing to make the change, right? You obviously weren't willing to make that change yet.
Yep.
And when you were, you had other people who were just as codependent saying, oh, he's so sorry and all this stuff. And without you, I don't know what's going to happen. And then those bring you from, you have this, you're ready to hold this boundary. And then it plays to all the emotions that you're already telling yourself.
Yes.
If I leave, who am I? If I leave, what does it say about me? And all these things, right? So it brings us down again. So those are factors into, am I willing to do something different?
Yeah.
Right? And if those factors still impact you, then you're not willing.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So I think we have to be to a certain point on our journey to kind of not listen to the peanut gallery about something that's important to us, to where we do something. And if we're at that point in our recovery, then that means that we're already at a higher level, right? That we're able to make those decisions and we're ready.
Yes.
So I think it all is going to unfold. What is going to happen is going to happen. When you're ready, it happens. When you're not, other things influence, right? So it's almost like it is just meant to be what's supposed to happen, right?
Yes.
It's crazy if you think about it that way. But you still have all those choices. You have all the free will to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah.
And in just its own timing.
Yeah. Andrea wrote, it's painfully lonely being married to an active alcoholic, and addiction to in addition to terrifying, frustrating, depressing, and heartbreaking. And Shannon agrees. And I mean, I completely agree too, because again, the reason why we do the separating the addict from the true individual, because I feel it helps us understand who's really in front of us. And when the active addict, when the addict's really in front of us, you're not getting a healthy love. You're not getting healthy communication. You're not even getting healthy behaviors. So you're getting a lot of hurt. And it is very difficult, and it is very lonely because you don't have a present person there.
Yep. Rebecca Rebo.
Yep. Rebecca wrote, when does an addict finally know enough is enough? My brother has gone to rehab, has no friends, no life, is in methadone, but still uses. I know our family did choose it, create, and
Didn't
choose it, create it, and we can't control it, but it's so frustrating and emotional. He cries and hates his life, but he won't do anything different. As soon as there is a hard time using is an easy out.
And that's it, right? That's exactly what we're talking about, is we don't ever know enough is enough, right? We know, the addict never knows enough is enough.
Yes.
Like, I know, Mitchell knew that, like, I was very unhappy, and you just said he cries and hates his life. I cried, I hated my life, I didn't know what, but right in the car to the dealer's house, because that's the only thing that fixes it. It fixes it momentarily, because we can't see the pathway to happy. Mm-hmm. We haven't been happy for a long time. The only thing that makes us happy for one moment is using.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't predict what enough is going to be enough. And you know, it's like I just said, it's this very delicate thing of treatment. And if it's the same treatment center and you get comfortable in it, then that becomes comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know people that have got it the first time they went to treatment. I know people who haven't even gone to treatment and got clean. Yeah. I know people that have gone to treatment 35 times and they got it on the 36th time.
Yeah.
Right? When is enough enough? When is the program right for them? When do enough friends die? When does enough family distance? You know, when do we almost die? You know, when does that take hold, when we're crying and saying, I hate my life? When does that happen? And I think, you know, the answer I would say is longer stints without anything. We're going to see that more and more and more. You know what I mean? So if you're on methadone and you're still using, what's the point of being on methadone? You're still using, you're just doubling down on everything, right? It's two separate drugs that are given the same effect, you know, twice as bad, right? Like, so if you're using when you're on it, like, it's just double.
Yeah.
It's just double, right? So how are you going to kick two now?
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, get into a program that is totally abstinence, that medically can get you off of everything slowly, because a lot of people do just want to keep you on methadone too, but like, for your best chance of survival, and if you need a maintenance program, if you need a medical, if you need medically assisted treatment after the fact, whatever. If that's what your doctor says, that's great, but you know, you have to get to the raw, real stuff in sobriety, I think, first.
Yeah, and I think, you know, earlier on, just expressing again what Mitchell was saying, and we're going to go a little bit more into this, boundaries are key, but remember, boundaries only create possibilities. Boundaries still don't make someone choose recovery. So we can only do so much. And that's what's so frustrating and hard, is because that choice alone is that individual's, if they want recovery or not. And that, I think, is the most frustrating piece on the family side, is knowing how important someone is, knowing how much they can achieve, seeing their light, seeing their greatness, and their possibilities and capabilities, and watching someone slowly die in front of us, because that's exactly what happens. We mourn the living. We're watching the true individual, which we once knew, start turning into a shell of that person, because that's what addiction does. It eats away at the true individual. And that's what makes it so frustrating. We see all this possibility, this light, this hope, but we can't choose it for them. I mean, it's the ultimate loss of control.
I think the biggest thing I've seen touch an addict, the boundaries open up the possibility, right? Always hold those boundaries. But to share the love of who they were, right? And the things you loved about them not using, right? Like the things we did when you were there, the things you did when you were healthy, the things, I'm not even putting it that way, but just reminiscing about times you know they were healthy. that has seemed to touch an addict more, right? I've seen people break down and cry because it's just something that they feel, but the addict is running it, right? But if you talk about something that they really fantasize about as being healthy and clean and loving their sister or brother or parents or kid or whatever, and they just don't think they can ever get back there, then you have other people that are holding boundaries also talking about how much I really love and miss that moment. I think that does get to you.
Yeah.
That broke me down in addiction.
Yeah.
And early recovery.
Yeah. And then Tiffany, I want to read what you wrote too. I had to kick my husband out a few days ago, but nowhere good really to go. But me and the kids couldn't take the chaos, and it broke my heart to do that. And I've been struggling with guilt, but I've had some peace too.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, Tiffany, I want to talk about this on a morning live, so I don't want to go full into the rant. What I just want to express is this. I understand why we have that guilt of when we hold our boundaries and we say enough is enough on our part as families, okay? We hold that guilt because I think a lot of us do know, whether you want to continue with the choice or disease debate, go ahead, to be completely honest. I don't think that helps anything. But anyways, I think what happens is we know the truth that it's killing people, okay? That addiction is killing people. You want to see a real epidemic, look at addiction. Addiction is an epidemic, and it's not going anywhere, sadly. It's getting worse and worse. It's not getting better. It's exactly the definition of addiction, okay? The more it goes, the worse it's going to happen, and we see that worldwide. It's not just in one town, one city, one state, one country. It's worldwide. Addiction is worldwide, and it is taking our loved ones worldwide. Okay, it is an absolute epidemic on huge proportions. And I also know that I understand that some people want us to do continued love, and what they consider love as, I feel, which I did in the past, is no matter what someone does, you keep taking them back. You keep being kind. Here's the part about that though. We are still kind when we hold boundaries. We're not being a bad person when we look at someone and say, hey, your addiction is causing abusive behaviors, and I love you, and I don't want to feel this anymore. I don't want you to continue hurting me anymore, so I'm going to take my choice and either take myself out of the situation or ask somebody to leave. And what I want to talk more on a morning live is I've had people that have chewed me out and saying that what I did was horrible to Mitchell, that I'm a person that kills addicts because I have told Mitchell that I was leaving, and I see it as kindness of no more, I'm done. But I've been told I've been a horrible person for doing that, and that's not love. Here's the part that really upsets me though. Again, the focus is so much on the addict, so much on the addiction, because I think people tend to forget that loving someone in addiction isn't, I know I might touch some toes with this one, but I know a lot of times they compare it to someone with another disease like diabetes. Okay. People with diabetes don't keep their insulin out because it can actually hurt people if they take it, right? They don't have their insulin out for their kids to take, so their kids take it, and all of a sudden we have a problem on our hands. We are dealing someone that is an addict, that unfortunately is not the true individual, and a lot of the times does leave a lot of their stuff out that can kill family members, friends, and so much more. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Then, on top of it, yes, I get it, someone with diabetes, when their blood sugar is low, that they can be upsetting. Okay, I don't think it's to the degree that when someone is in active addiction, again, not the true individual, but continues to mentally, emotionally, verbally, and even somely physically abuse people. This is a completely different disease. And every time I hear that analogy, my philosophy major comes out and goes, that is a massive fallacy of equivalence. Okay? We cannot go, here's diabetes, here's addiction. And the part that really upsets me is this. We're so focused again on the addiction, the active addiction, and the unhealthy behaviors that it's happening. What do you think is happening inside the home to their spouses, to their children? Yeah. What do you think is happening to them? But it's okay though. It's okay though for us to continue feeling an abuse, right? And it's horrible for us to tell the person that's abusing us, this needs to stop and you need to get out. And we don't usually tell. Yeah, that's the thing is, we don't usually tell. We're giving a choice.
Yep.
We're giving a choice. If you stop, if you get recovery, you are always welcome here. Yep. I love you. If you do not get recovery, though, me and the kids, we cannot keep doing this. No. But nobody has a problem. It seems like nobody has a problem. It seems like, though, if the kids and the spouse have to upheave their lives and go away, we're the bad people. Yeah, sorry.
It's not just your right to hold a boundary. It's your obligation, especially when there's kids involved, right? It's not just your right to say, if you choose this, then you're choosing to the door, right? You're choosing the door. It's our obligation to keep ourselves and families and our home and our property safe from someone who is using, right? And there's too many people out there that think, we all do, that it's not my place. We're not telling them they have to do it. Anna didn't tell me I had to quit, right? No. She just said, if you like having me around or, you know, animals around or this relationship or like the life you have, like there's only one choice, and that's for you to choose something different. You know what I mean? And if you keep choosing what you're choosing, I'm walking out, right? And that's the best thing she could have done for herself. And I'm super proud of her for it. You know what I mean? I'm proud of her for it. And that's, you know, 2 weeks into recovery at that time, I said, thank God you left. And that's because I never would have stopped using it. And I didn't when you left. Yep. But eventually I got to a point. Yep. Right?
Yep. And that's the thing is that lead into for family, okay? I'm going to tell you right off the bat. No one can tell you what your rock bottom is. No one can tell you when your enough is enough moment. All I can tell you is this. You'll know when you know. Okay? And I had multiple people telling me that. And I was like, fantastic. That's not the answer I really wanted. I think sometimes people actually want the answer looking straight at and going, you're not a bad person if you leave. You can go. You are not a bad person. You are a good person. And you might be making the best and healthiest choice for yourself to go. I think that's what sometimes people want to hear. To be completely honest, I absolutely wanted someone to say that to me. Why? Because I thought I was a bad person for making the decision of leaving Mitchell when I really do believe this is a disease. I do believe it's not a belief, it's a belief, but it's also a fact that alters the brain. Okay. And so for me, when people are asking what my rock bottom was, I think it was, guys, when Mitchell stepped into rehab that first time, we were offered a Saturday aftercare, okay, with Laura Boberg, which was a substance abuse counselor. I will fully admit to you, did I go to those Saturday aftercares for myself? No. I went to those Saturday aftercares to gain more insight and information of how to help Mitchell and how to be a better codependent. Okay? I was a...
Because you didn't realize you were doing anything.
Yes, no, I was
you were doing the best of your ability.
Yes, I was a A+ people pleaser, A+ perfectionist, okay? That doesn't mean that I got everything perfectly. What that meant is I didn't want to do anything imperfectly. Okay? So,
and you knew you had those things,
oh, yes.
Right? But you didn't know how detrimental that was to your own life,
no,
right? At that point.
No, because I still will always remember that questionnaire that Christy gave us to see how similar we were. Yeah. I remember in my head just like being fearful that we'd get it wrong, that people would then think that we weren't a good couple. Meaning as like us having that people looking at us and going, you're a good couple, back then gave me worth because I didn't have anywhere else where worth was. Okay? I didn't have anywhere.
That's another reason you stayed.
Yes, yes. And so I just know that when I went into those Saturday aftercares, I went in because I thought that was what was expected of me. I thought to be a good wife, that meant going to these Saturday aftercares, go a step further, of being a good human being, of being a kind human being, which I've always wanted to be. Mitchell's now in recovery. I can't leave now. Mitchell's actually making the choice that I've wanted him to do for a long time, even if my insides still said, go. Go. My codependency said, well, you can't leave now. He's in recovery. Everyone's going to think and know that you're a horrible person. That's how my codependency works. So I stayed. So I went, okay, so what can I do? How can I make this work still? That's the typical codependent. This is still the situation I have. My imagination part of my brain is shut off. All I can visualize is here. How can I still make this better? Even though there's probably thousands of possibilities out there, how can I make this work? And that is how trauma works. Again, Body Keeps a Score. Read that book. It shuts off the imagination part of your brain. Okay, that is why we don't think, what will this look like if I leave this situation? What would these possibilities look? We get consumed by this one problem, and this problem becomes our, if I want to be happy, if I want fulfillment, if I want things to be fixed, I have to fix this. Okay, and so what happened was I went to those Saturday aftercares, absolutely, okay, to really not work on myself to still help Mitchell. That's basically what happened. When I continued to be there and do that, unfortunately, what happened was I continued to hold those boundaries, but my boundaries basically became this, guys. My boundaries, I admit to this, what happened was I thought my boundaries would make Mitchell choose different. Okay? I thought my boundaries were going to make Mitchell choose recovery. So when Mitchell relapsed after that first time he went to rehab, I lost so much hope. Okay? And I was angry at Mitchell. I remember being so angry at Mitchell that he relapsed. And then when Mitchell came back and relapsed again, I was starting to get more angry and more frustrated, okay? I could feel resentments bubbling to the surface and things like that. So I started to get more angry and actually more controlling. Laura was the one that helped me see that I was still trying to control everything. I did not notice that. I did not see that. So if you actually asked me where was my rock bottom, it was actually doing all the things and learning all the healthy things, healthy communication, how to talk to Mitchell, how to hold boundaries, how to express myself, all those things. And I think me doing that and it's still not changing the end result of Mitchell getting recovery, it put me into a spot where all that understanding and finally coming to acceptance that Mitchell was not going to choose recovery made me so incredibly angry that I started directing my anger towards Mitchell. And anger is a healthy emotion. We just need to know how to direct it. I wasn't directing it in a healthy way. And I know you've heard this part, but my rock bottom really was when Mitchell stole, I know it was only $3 or $4, okay? But when he stole that, and I asked him, Mitchell, where was my money? He said he did not know. And then I remember looking in my wallet again. You said you might have misplaced it. So I went looking, and I'm looking everywhere, and then all of a sudden it hit me. And I remember just going, why am I freaking looking? Because I know he stole it. Yep. And all this anger came out. I ran out, and I went, where's your wallet? And he's like, I remember going, what? Like, what? I'm like, where's your wallet, Mitchell? He's like, it's in the truck. What the hell is wrong with you? I remember opening up the wallet angry, too. Like, just angry. And then there it is. And that flipped me out. Because there it was again. It's gotten that bad again. And so from there, when I was ready to finally talk to Mitchell again, and he told me he wasn't ready to talk to me, right there, I got even more mad because, let's be honest, my control was taken away. I was ready to talk to him. And so when he told me no, that made me mad. And then when he added in the, I'm still mad at you because you yelled at me, I remember getting so pissed off. It was almost like, how dare you get mad at me for stealing my money? And I came down those stairs with a vengeance to mentally, emotionally, and verbally abuse Mitchell. And I admit to that. And when I opened the door and Mitchell wasn't out there, I fell to the steps and started bawling because it was my realization, two things. One was I was turning into somebody I did not want to be. I always wanted to be kind. That is one of my favorite qualities about me, that I think I can always see the good in people, no matter how much people put on a display of hurting other individuals. I still always feel like I can see the good, and I was losing that. That's a part of me that I find a lot of worth in, and I think that was my rock bottom. I realized, this is not something I'm going to give away to the addict, and I didn't want to, and so I fought for that. Like Mitchell said, it's not even really about a rock bottom. It's that when you're ready and willingness to change, and when that moment hit me, I was willing to change. I did not want that taken away from me, and I'd have to give that freely to you, you know?
Yeah, and I just want to say to Rebecca, she said, so true, my parents can't kick my brother out because he would be on the streets. And it's the guilt of it all. But I think that would be his bottom. And here's the thing. We got to reframe this stuff. And we got to tell our, if you tell your parents this stuff too, it's not them ever. Your parents would never kick their son out. But your son's not there. Your brother's not there. Right? And the thing is the addict's choosing to continue using. So the addict is choosing to live on the streets. Mm-hmm. Right? We all have free will. We have the choice to use. I have the choice to use right now. But I am choosing, if I choose to use, I'm choosing to not have Anna or my daughter in my life. I'm an adult. I can make that choice. And that's what's going to happen. Yep. Right? Anybody who's saying, oh, you're going to feel guilt. You're going to feel guilt.
Always going to feel guilt.
You're going to feel guilt, right?
We're human.
That's normal. That's normal, but it wasn't your choice. It wasn't your choice. It was theirs. Their choice to do this. Who are we to stand in the way of someone's choice to continue doing something? We aren't. But we have a choice to love them, to say, I'm here for you. If you don't use, I'm here for you. I don't feel safe if you're using. You know what I mean? And then another person said that, that their parents did the same thing, and now the lady's husband's or acquaintances in prison for killing someone. Yep. Killing his friend because of addiction. I know people the same thing. You know what I mean? It was the same thing. I know friends that have died or killed each other, or from quarrels with addiction, or from drugs, or from other things, just in the behavior. They didn't choose to do that, right? Mm-hmm. My friends did not choose to do that. The healthy friends did not choose to do that. The addict did not care, and now my friends aren't here. Yep.
And here's the thing, Rebecca, I saw what you wrote also. I feel angry and mad at times because my parents won't always be around, and then what? I get to kick him out because he will have nowhere to live. And Rebecca, that's resentments that we're carrying, because sometimes other people, just because we challenge our codependency doesn't mean other people are going to challenge codependency. And usually what I tell people is we have to hold boundaries with other codependents as well. Boundaries are not just for addicts or codependents. Boundaries are for everyone out there in this universe, right? They are a way to protect ourselves. They are not meant to control other people. And, going further down that road when we were talking about, because I started thinking about it, how you said, Mitchell, too, rock bottom, I don't think is just this one spot and then it just, here we go. I still think it's a journey, okay? Because after that, after me realizing, like, I don't want to give away this last shred of me, this, this part of me that I love about myself and have since I was a little girl, I wrote those 2 letters, one to Mitchell and one to the addict. And another part that was another piece of my rock bottom to know, let's keep changing. I think that's the other part. Let's keep changing, is because I realized that when I read those 2 letters to Mitchell that I poured my heart and soul out into, he looked back at me and he just said, he didn't care. He said, you didn't really separate that well. And I remember looking in his eyes and it was like a whole other entity. It was not my Mitchell.
Well, and that's what happens too with, I just want to touch on this for a minute, is that was after a couple times in treatment. So now the addict had some knowledge of what treatment is, right? So if we get treatment a little bit and we get a little healthy, then we go back out, you better believe that the addict's going to use that as ammo as well, right? And healthy means like, oh, we separate stuff, we do this. Here's the arrogant, abusive, narcissistic addict looking at Anna saying, you didn't even separate those well. You just said Mitchell and addict and all this stuff together and mixed it together. So now I'm using that as ammo, right? Yeah. Because that's what the addict does.
Yep. And then, hi, Emily, love you. And then I would really say, when was that point that I actually really let go? It was after I came here to Massachusetts and I realized Mitchell was as bad as he was before he ever went into recovery. all the mean texts started coming in, name calling, things like that. And, you know, demanding money. And I realized it was never going to change.
Yeah, my money, my things.
Yes. And so I do think it was when we had not talked for 48 hours. I had gone out with Caitlin. I had met new people. And I started realizing, because I think some people out there,
that you could be happy again.
Yeah, and I think other people can understand this. I guess a part of me did believe, Mitchell, that, I mean, I'm going to come with a bunch of trauma now. Like, let's be real, okay? Going through addiction, there's no way that you can't have trauma. So I really think I saw myself as a damaged person. So I started seeing myself as, how would anyone ever accept me? You know, I saw myself to be broken. And when I met new friends that night, it did make me realize that I was not broken, that people still accepted me, even when I felt broken. And that was a massive part. And when Mitchell had texted me that morning after not hearing from him for 48 hours, and I remember the text, it said something like, Anna, you deserve the best of me. I'm so sorry. I keep doing this to you. I'm going to really do it this time. And that's when I fell down to my knees and I started bawling and I prayed to God that, like, I finally do it. I give my relationship to you. I don't want to feel this way anymore. Because those words should be something that lift your soul up. They should be something that make you feel good, that someone's saying that they're fighting for themselves or fighting for a relationship.
You heard it so many times.
But I heard it so many times.
Depressing.
Yeah, that it hurt. It actually was more daggers. It was more pain, more chaos, more whiplash. And I just wanted it to stop. And then after that, I had all the strength in the world to tell Mitchell, you know, I'll give you this money. Like, I will. You're entitled to it. I'll give it to you. Just know, though, if I give you this money, I'm walking away from this marriage. And I remember saying it so peaceful and so calming, because I think I had not only accept the situation, but I also accepted myself and where I was at. And I think that's the key, guys. When you say, where is it, Anna, that enough is enough? It's when you accept the situation for what it is. And you realize that you truly cannot change your loved one. And like Mitchell said, you are willing now to do the work, to fight for yourself, to create your own change. Because I know we're always thinking we want to be their hero, but we need to start really changing that and realizing that we need to come and save ourselves.
Well, I mean, sometimes when we're the hero for other people, we're the villain of our own story.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're holding ourselves down because we're trying to hold other people. And I think one of the biggest things that hijack our life is worrying about what other people think. And you know what? We can't control what other people think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can be a saint, and one person just doesn't like you because the way you look or the way you walked into the door, or because they're having a bad day. It's none of our business.
Yeah. And Robin just said, apologizing for the 1,000th time to me is a dagger to my heart. And I want everyone to hear this, okay?
I hear you.
Do I believe sometimes that they mean it to be true when they're saying it? I actually do. Okay? I do believe at times, one, it can be a form of manipulation. Two, I do, and I have seen people that say it, and I know and feel their soul in that moment. In that moment, they mean it. However, the drugs just pull them back out.
I meant it every time. I never said it when I didn't mean it.
Yes.
But there was never any action.
That's right? The key that I want to say.
It's just words. It's just words. An addict doesn't realize, or anybody, not even someone in a behavior doesn't realize that it takes action, not words.
Yes, and that's what I wanted.
Life takes action, not words.
Yes, and that's what I really wanted to let everyone know.
But if you act accordingly as much your whole life, then your words do mean something.
Yeah, and here's the part: if someone says, I'm going to really do it this time, we can still watch it from afar. Okay? Meaning we can still hold our boundaries. And I want people to know that more words and no actions is manipulation, whether someone's conscious of it or not.
Yes.
Okay? And so when people do express, I'm going to really do it this time, that's great. Just know, though, if there is no action with it and consecutive action with it, it's going to turn out just to be more words. So it's okay for you to distance yourself and go, you know what? I really am looking forward for that change. And I really do hope that you do it. And I'm going to be over here. but you don't need to come
Yep.
back into their
I'm rooting for
lives.
you.
Yes, I'm rooting for you, but you can do it from a distance. You're not doing anything wrong by doing that. Now, Mitchell, I do want to ask you, because there are people in here that are saying, you know, you guys continuously talking about boundaries does help me hold boundaries. I can't tell you how many people throughout the years We Are Recovery has said, when you guys talk about boundaries, it has helped me hold boundaries, and here I am today. Whether their loved one has got recovery or they have walked away and they are feeling fulfilled and happy now in their lives. So I want to actually ask you something. When people are always wondering this, that rock bottom, was boundaries a possibility maker for you to create possibilities of recovery? Like, we could never choose it for you, but do you believe us holding boundaries really did create the possibility of you fighting for your own recovery?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Boundaries across the board. Boundaries.
What would happen if I did it that day? What happens if we would have just continued doing the
You
dance?
continue doing the dance. That's it.
So you really don't think, like, so if I would have not held boundaries and still been there?
Would I have stopped doing drugs and abusing and all that
Yes.
stuff? No.
Okay, that's what I'm curious about.
No. Why
So
would
it
I?
wasn't.
I had everything I wanted. I had everything the addict wanted.
And what was that?
Use, continue manipulating people, living life unchecked, living under a false sense of freedom, that I was making the decisions, that I was in charge of my life, that I had this under control. I mean, it's just a big power grab, addiction, right? Addiction is just this power thing that's making you feel powerful when you're powerless.
Yeah.
That's what addiction is, right?
Yeah.
Makes you feel powerful because you're emotionally hijacking people, verbally hijacking people. You're pushing boundaries and winning, right? You're knocking people off of their logic and reasoning with just emotional banter of just rocking their world with just all this crap, right? You're powerful. You have a false sense of power.
Yeah.
Right? I never felt powerful. I felt powerless, but the addiction is powerful.
So can I ask you this too, because I am curious, because I feel like I consecutively held different boundaries. I want to know about this one. When I told you that you were not welcome up in Massachusetts, and remember when you were like, hey, Anna, when I was here.
Yeah, I'm not going to do the roof.
I'll come up. If I would have said, you can come up, do you think you would have taken your use and it would have still continued here?
I mean, I would have came up, but it was always, I mean, I never had the network of people to use up here, you know what I mean? So what would have happened if, hypothetically, I would have slowed down?
Yeah.
I never would have stepped back into recovery this last time, so I would have slowed down. I would have eventually found all those networks.
Yeah.
And it would have been the same thing.
And you would have drank, regardless of cocaine. Would you feel that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you would have kicked me out of here, and then I'd be up here, and then like it would have just complicated everything. I would have just kept on complicating everything.
So it really was
right? So it's like, but I didn't believe that I wasn't welcome up here.
Yeah.
The addict didn't believe it. You said it. Yeah, I remember hearing it. And I don't know. I don't even think it went through my mind. Even when you said I wasn't welcome up here, I was probably like, well, okay, let's go back out and use.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care. The addict doesn't care.
Yeah. Well, I do.
The addict doesn't care in the moment. Like, the addict's not going to care about your boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, there's invisible boundaries everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I can't drive on the left side of the road, but like, can I drive over there if no one's coming? Yeah. It's invisible boundaries.
So do you think...
Right? So, like, it doesn't matter to the person, the perpetrator. It's just... the possibility that is created from the boundary, which is what we're talking about, is it creates that possibility, is that we have the opportunity. The addict has the opportunity to look around and say, holy crap, like, where am I, right? Like, everybody's staying on here. I don't want to kick this person out because they're on the street. Well, eventually, I'm going to look around and say, oh, man, I'm on the street. And maybe when I went to the street, I had a backpack and a tent and you know, some money and a bank account. Well, you know, now I have no money and a tent and a backpack. Progressively gets worse. Now I'm just sitting on a stoop, no backpack, no tent, no place to go, soaking wet, nothing. So it gets progressively worse. So we look around and we say, well, I mean, death looks pretty good.
Did you ever not want to lose you, though? Because I was just thinking about that. How my rock bottom was, I didn't want to lose me, that last shred. Did you ever, that night when you were contemplating suicide and all those thoughts, did you ever think about,
I
like,
wanted to live.
Didn't want to lose you?
I wanted to live. I wanted to experience things. Life's beautiful. There's so much stuff I didn't do, even if it wasn't with you. Like, I need to get this for me.
Yeah.
All that stuff, man. But like the power of addiction is it tells you you're not losing yourself. This is you.
Yeah.
Right? What I'm using, like, this is you, Mitchell. You are that good person. But what I'm spewing is, how dare you do this? You're wrong. Give me this money. I wasn't here. I was there making up this stuff. You know what I mean? Making you feel like crap. I'm good. Right? That's what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yes, I've always wanted myself, but that's not what addiction shows you.
Yeah.
Like, it's the illogical. Because you can't, you actually can't get into logic.
Yeah.
Your brain is so warped, right? Like, I'm not saying you use once and your brain's warped, right? I'm saying in addiction, if you're an addict and you've been in behavior long enough, or if it's just a behavior, sex addiction, gambling addiction, food addiction, whatever, your brain gets warped to where logically you can't see, I'm worth it.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose me, but I can't see that the things I'm doing is losing me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's logical. You can't see, you physically can't see it.
Yeah.
You can't, it does not compute.
Yeah.
There is no railway that goes to that center of your brain.
Yeah. And the reason why I do think that no matter what side we're on.
So other people have to make those decisions. It just keeps coming. Other people have to make those decisions. That's where boundaries come in. There's no way that I'm going to make that decision, because my track in my mind, my pathway, does not go to logic and reasoning.
Yeah.
It will never go to logic and reasoning.
Yeah.
While I'm in addiction.
Yeah.
And up to 1 to 2 years after addiction.
Yeah.
I have to retrain that. Let's sidetrack into logic and reasoning. I have to do that. So if I can't do that, how is an addict going to make a logical choice?
Yeah.
There's not going to be any possibility unless here's you stepping in and saying, you're not welcome up in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
The addict's not welcome up in Massachusetts. Well, now, emotionally, I can only be emotionally mad for so long into where it jumps the track and goes, oh crap, I'm not welcome up in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And it goes back to illogical again.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I
So
want
like, those boundaries you hold are the only shred of logic in an otherwise unlogical world that the addict is living in.
Yes. Let's see. I wanted to see. My spouse has left. He chose different. We have 3 children, 8 years old, 2 years old, and 3 months old. My rock bottom was him not choosing recovery. Yeah. Isabel, I think I really do think that's a lot of ours as family members, because I think, and this is the hard part too. This is why I do think, guys, we can be as sick, or if not sicker than our loved one in addiction, is because, Isabel, I know that your rock bottom was noticing that he wasn't choosing recovery, and you came to that acceptance and you chose different for you. I would also say that there's so many family members out there that don't come to that acceptance of that this is really their decision and their choice. So we have to make our own choice for ourselves, and we get stuck in that insanity and we continue to fix. And so I really think you came out of your own addiction and came to that hard reality and acceptance of, I can't choose for him. All I can do is choose for me. And that's very powerful.
It's hard and it's painful, and it's not going to ever take that away. But it also is the catalyst for you choosing you and doing you in the moment now.
Yes. And I wanted, okay, Tiffany, it was you. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you so much for the stars. I saw stars come in, and I just wanted to really thank you very much. It really helps and supports Mitchell and I. There was another thing I wanted to read real quick, guys. Also, if you have any questions, again, before we do head off in just a little bit, copy and paste your question again if we did not answer it, so that we can go through it again. Let's see.
And then after the live's over, we can answer the question.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. I'm thankful for seeing y'all's live. My husband and I are going through it right now. Thankfully, it's in rehab, and I'm taking my own steps to my own recovery. Awesome. That is awesome, Brandy. And then, guys, I just wanted to take a moment, too, and thank all of you for sharing our post today, or writing words of encouragement, because Mitchell and I did finally announce, even though we have had our own coaching business for about 3 years now, and we've been coaching for about 5, it's always been hard for me to post it on We Are Recovery. I felt like I was doing something bad, didn't feel good enough, worthy, a lot of core beliefs hitting in. I was scared of what people would think. So I really want you to know how important it was for me with you guys supporting Mitchell and I. It helps me challenge my own core beliefs and my own self-talk and my own codependency. So I just want you to know I'm really appreciative of you all of supporting us on this next venture of publicly announcing our coaching that we're doing. So I thank you guys very much. And soon we will be doing those workshops. We will only be having limited space with the workshops. And the reason is because I want to create the workshops just like my Saturday aftercares, which were small, about 10 to 15 people. I want us to get to know one another rather it being a massive thing. I want to help create that support system. Okay. So I'm very appreciative to you guys. Mary, I so resonate with you, Anna. I felt this anger and feel the need to control my partner's using, and I felt I'm losing who I was, kind and looking for the good in people, laid back, easygoing, and now I'm losing my mind in anger, frustration, despair, and emotionally and mentally now unbalanced. I think it is, guys, for us as family members, I'm kind of just really coming to this realization more. As much as I've known for a while that moment, I didn't want my grace taken away, okay? I didn't want that good in people that I can see, to the point where my mom, I remember when I was younger, she actually said to me, Anna, I love that about you, that you see the good in people, but I'm also scared that it's going to kill you one day. I remember her telling me that when I was like early high school.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. And so the thing is I needed to learn balance though. Okay. I can still see the good in people. However,
with healthy boundaries.
Yes, exactly. However, I see the good in people. I can't allow people to abuse. And I'm going to use the word allow because I do realize now that I, in my situation, had the choice to leave if I wanted to. I had the choice to say no more. And in all honesty, I felt guilt at that first, but now I feel power in that because I realize that I have the power to tell someone no and to walk away if I want.
And I actually feel that you upped your seeing good in people tenfold by holding boundaries.
Yeah.
Because are you really seeing the best in people if you're not holding boundaries? No.
I'm not allowing them to I actually feel like I'm taking possibility away.
You are. You're not seeing the best in them because the best in them is actually, helping them see the best in them.
Yes.
Which is holding boundaries.
Yes. And Taylor, hi guys, new here. Hi Taylor,
yeah, hi, Taylor.
Welcome. Just want to say I'm admiring the vulnerability you both display in live. Even when things get uncomfy, it still feels safe in here. Thanks for providing the space for others. You're very welcome, Taylor. Thank you so much for the kindness. I always say this, and I'll say it a million times more because it is true. I really feel like what Mitchell and I are doing is just giving back and doing the same that so many did for us when we were in it, like Laura and Chris and Jared and Jen. There was I'm hundreds. That's why, like Darren. There's just so many names that go through our heads that helped us out in this journey. We wouldn't be where we are today without their vulnerability. So we know vulnerability is scary, but it's so important. Let's see. We've seen that one. Hold on. There's a few more. There's this, I think it was Andrea. Hearing your perspective in the many lives I watched helped give me the confidence to set up boundaries for myself. And I learned that that would then provide the opportunity and possibility for my husband to choose recovery. I learned that if my many spouses are in love with the memory of the true individual and the person is separate from the addict. I asked my husband to leave for the third time 9 months ago. He chose rehab, then IOP, and sober living. He's coming home this weekend. We will continue with couples therapy. Good. To learn how to continue our recovery together. 35 years married, last 10 increasingly challenged by his addiction. Great job, Andrea, holding boundaries, and good job getting something to do with couples and having that third party, because I'm a believer that that's massively important.
And here's the thing is our past does not define us. Our past takes us to where we are in the moment, and then it's what we choose moment to moment where we're going to go. And then if you decide you really want something with somebody else, you decide to start compromising and getting vulnerable and getting open and honest, and then it's not a sure thing.
Yeah.
Then either. Me and Anna could still be doing this work right now, and in a year, 2 years, 10 years, we could still come up and be the healthiest we've ever been and say, we've just grown apart.
Yep.
Right? And we're going to do something different for ourselves, for our family, and whatever. The thing is we're working towards healthy. It doesn't matter the dynamic of your family relationships. It matters about the healthiness of those.
Yeah.
And just to vote, and just just a willingness, man. You know what I mean? And that's what the rock bottom brings you, is a willingness.
Yep.
Willingness to do something.
And Isabel, you're absolutely welcome, and I'm glad you found our page too. There's always a part of me that when I say I'm glad you found our page, part of me is like, I wish you didn't have to. Yeah, I wish you didn't have to, because then that just shows that we're all going through that struggling experience. What I will tell you is, though, all about tonight and what we've been really trying to express is when you're ready for change, when you're willing to work on yourself, that is when change will occur, guys. It needs to be focused on you, though, and your change, not of somebody else's. Take it from me that tried to continue changing myself in effort to change somebody else. I just needed to focus changing on myself, but that was part of my story also, was going down that route and realizing, oh, that's not gonna work, okay? That's life, making mistakes. Mary wrote, it's awful to be like this when you're not, but the addict's unhealthy behavior changes the way you communicate, but communicating in a healthy way, and show these negative emotions that are trying to destroy you as a person spiritually, and it's not good. It's not good, and that's why, again, we need to work on ourselves, because I do feel this, and again, this might step on toes, as much as the addict has a victim mentality, I do believe we as codependents create a victim mentality as well sometimes. Of course. And that victim mentality, it's a human thing. That victim mentality doesn't help us. So when we start realizing, you know what, there's addiction in my life, and because of unhealthy behaviors, I'm recognizing I'm becoming unhealthy. However, I need to take that accountability and realize I am becoming unhealthy. So what can I do for myself to work on that unhealthiness? And that's when, when people
being the victim shows you that shows you a path, like, right, to like, why do I feel victimized, right? It shows you that getting in that victim mentality opens that window, right?
Yes.
Door shuts, it opens the window of why. Oops. Why do I feel this way?
Yep. And I think it's like Brene Brown said, we go from victim mentality, then to survivor, and then what she calls as thriver. Mm-hmm. So the victim comes out of that victim mode, takes accountability, and starts surviving. That's the survivor. She calls the thriver the person that then takes their knowledge and starts sharing their story. And that's what all of you are going to do. I'm telling you, you on this page right now, you being a part of this community, I know some might feel like, I'm not going to share my story. That's part of your story right now. Yep. Not to share the story, but I promise you, when you hear somebody else, you'll just all of a sudden one day go, did that just come out of me? That part of vulnerability that you're going to share with another human being. And I want you to know you made a difference in that person's life. And it's not just one person. There's a whole family. There's a whole network behind them. That is why, again, why this page is called We Are Recovery. It's not just symbolizing Mitchell and I. It's symbolizing this whole force, this whole community. It takes an army to do this. We don't need to do it alone. We shouldn't do it alone. Together we are recovery, and we're going to keep spreading this message, all of us, together, and we will make a difference. We are making a difference, all of us.
Yeah, and I have people in my life that love hearing my story. I have people in my life that hate hearing it, and I have people that don't care.
Yep.
And everything in between.
And
you know what I mean?
Cillian just wrote, my coworker, who may be watching, was the one who showed me your page, and I've appreciated seeing your posts every day. Cillian, that's amazing. And thank you very much also for being a part of this community. And that's what I mean right there. Just a simple going, hey, sharing this is because you're helping another person. And I want you to know that one of the most extraordinary gifts you can give this world is making the choice to heal. Okay? That is the most extraordinary gift you can not only just give to yourself, but every human being on this planet, every animal, everything. Reason being is when you do that healing on yourself, you will walk this world in healing. You will help other people just by discovering you, by becoming in tune with who you are, being your authentic self. And I want you to know, if you're on that journey right now, even if you look in the mirror and you go, oh my God, there's still a lot to do. That's what healing is. We are going to continue being on this healing journey until the day we stop breathing. So I want you to know, you being here tonight, I'm damn proud of you, because you're on this healing journey for you. And that is helping you, but that is also helping every single other person in this world by you sharing that beautiful gift of you finding healing for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm proud of you.
Killian, and it's Killian.
Killian, what did I say?
Cillian.
Did I?
Something, yeah.
Oh, Killian.
It's pronounced like Killian.
Sorry,
You
Killian.
got you,
Usually I
Killian.
do say Killian, so I apologize to that. I will definitely remember that too also. But guys, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for being a part of this community, because Mitchell and I could not do this without you. And I know sometimes it sounds cliche, but this is the absolute truth. We cannot do this without you. You guys help spread knowledge, awareness, and I even think, I always say this too, that we're carrying on the light that Laura gave us. And so I always like thinking of this symbolism, okay? Here's the symbolism. If there is darkness all around us, if one person lights a candle, you start doing your healing journey. You light your candle. That darkness starts to become a little bit brighter. Somebody else walks up to you and they're ready for their healing journey, and you share their story, their candle lights. And we keep doing this more and more. We will bring light into that darkness. And so every single time when we're doing this together, we're spreading this awareness. So I appreciate you, and I am grateful for you.
And Killian, congrats on 10 months sober, man.
Hell yeah!
I'm super stoked for you. That is amazing. I'm so grateful that you're grateful for your sobriety. So just keep up the good work, man.
Yep, and guys, we're going to head off here tonight, but I will do a peek through questions. If we missed any questions, I'll answer you guys back. And then thank you again, guys. Thank you for so much of your support today in the sharing of our coaching business. I appreciate you guys so much, because, you know, you're helping me by doing this. Is I want to spend and continue to spend, which I do, hours on We Are Recovery, because I do feel that's a part of my purpose and journey is helping others the same way others have helped me. And you guys sharing the coaching business also helps me provide for my family, so I can keep doing this on We Are Recovery. So I want you to know, like, you're important to me. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're all a part of our lives. You're all a part of our lives. I mean, honestly, every day.
Yes.
You know, you're all a part of our lives. We may not have met. We might never meet. Yeah. But you are a part of our lives every day.
Yeah. We love you guys very much. We'll see you soon. I will be starting my morning lives up again. I know they keep going on and off, but the weather is starting to turn nice, and that's my favorite, going out in that swinging chair out there and then just communicating and talking with you guys. So those morning lives.
Yeah, you know what I did, you know, and you know what I found out, like, weather's a huge part of my depression and seasonal depression, because before we went to the Cape this weekend, we had like 4 days of nice weather, right? And I was feeling like a buzz of like positivity last week, right? Yeah. And just happy and calm. And it rained on the Cape the whole weekend, and I was like, felt myself being like judgy and moody and like all this, right? And then like it starts, and today it's a little rainy in the morning, and it starts getting nice. It's nice all week. I need sun and to be outside, especially because I used to work outside all the time in carpentry. And it's just like framing, and outside you're never under roof, right? You're just always outside, and I need that. I need to be outside. If I'm not outside, I'm miserable, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
for sure. She knows. So
we love you guys very much. I hope you also have a good rest of your night, and we will see you soon. Okay.
Love you guys.
All right. Bye, guys. Bye.